that requires an effort or whatever that requires you to work, it is not always easy. You don't always feel like doing it, same as someone who is working. When you are working, it requires effort, it requires you to work, and it is not always easy, because we are in this life and things happen, a lot of different things, so you don't always feel like doing what you know that you are supposed to do, you know so you need something that will drive you. You need something that will push you in order to do the things that you are supposed to do. You know. Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2, episode 1 of the Kindness Circle podcast. To be honest, I am so happy. I'm so happy, guys, and incredibly excited to be sitting here on this chair and holding conversations, that enhances our lives. Conversations that are all about spreading the good and the positive vibes, and above all, helping us in this circle to make better decisions. So, if you are listening to me or watching me for the very first time, my name is Modula Matapelo, and welcome. So, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, we are on YouTube. Please do remember to subscribe. Um, Today, on this episode, as we are opening season 2, I'd just like us to speak about something or a topic that I believe, affects all of us from different walks of life and from different ages. And what is that something? It's motivation. So, before you all get bored and be like, oh, I'm not in for some motivational video, please stay tuned and lend me your ear. I promise you, you are not going to regret. And I can also promise you that you are going to learn a thing or two. So stay tuned as we explore this topic of motivation or what motivates you. So I'd like to start by asking a question: that did you know that tapping into the inordinary can fuel your energy and the passion that you need to turn your life around? So before you think of, swiping this video away or looking for something else, I'd just like you to think about that question for a moment. Did you know that tapping into the inordinary can fuel your energy and also fill you with the passion that you need to turn your life around? I just want you to think of that. And I'll look more into that statement or into that question as we go along. I remember, okay, before I start this, I just like to say that some of the things that I talk about, obviously, is things that I gained. That are knowledge, that maybe I have knowledge that I have learned. But some of the things, these are my personal experiences, and also the experiences of others, So what I'm about to say, I just want you to take it from a perspective of somebody, who has walked that journey or who has an experience in that. So I have a BCom accounting degree, and I studied that qualification at the University of Johannesburg for 4 years. So I remember when I was still at varsity, that anything that requires an effort or that requires you to put in the work, it is not always easy. We know that if you are a learner or if you are a student, having to study, it is an effort. Like having to actually take out your books, sit on a chair and study, that is an effort. It's work. So whatever that requires an effort or whatever that requires you to work, it is not always easy. You don't always feel like doing it. Same as someone who is working. When you are working, it requires effort, it requires you to work, and it is not always easy, because we are in this life and things happen, a lot of different things, so you don't always feel like doing what you know that you are supposed to do, you know. So you need something that will drive you. You need something that will push you in order to do the things that you are supposed to do. You know, so as I was saying that I have a degree from the University of Johannesburg. I remember during my school days, before I could study, I would go to the library, and just before I could study, obviously take out my books from the bag and all that, right? So before I could start opening my books and all of that, I would first start by either on my phone or on the laptop. I will start by searching TD Jake's motivational videos on YouTube. So I would spend an hour or two just watching motivational videos, you know, and just to set my mind right, put my mind in the right state, you know, that I'm about to study. So by the time I start opening my books, then I will be having all this energy. I will be having all this passion, you know, because I would have listened to videos that says you can do it. If you require something, you need to put in the work, you know, those kind of motivational videos. So after listening to them or watching those videos on YouTube, I would feel so energized. And after that, studying would be so much easier. For me, watching motivational videos or watching motivational content, it could be even on social media. Like we know that we have different social media platforms. So for me, or consuming motivational content is one of my little pockets of motivation, because I believe that for us to do the things, you know, that we want to do, or for us to achieve the things that we want to achieve, it requires effort. But besides it requiring an effort, it also requires you to be motivated, or it also requires you to be pushed by something, and that something is motivation. So it is of importance that you know where to collect little snippets of motivation. And also, I'm also currently reading a book by Sharron Lowe. Oh, that book, it's so great. The title of the book is The Mind Makeover: The Answers to Becoming the Best You Yet. So that's the title of the book, and it's written by Sharron Lowe. Sharron Lowe is an American coach, life coach, or success coach. And one of the things, you know, that the book talks about, oh, that book, I wish you guys could read the book, because every time I'm reading the book, it always feels like I'm sitting with my best friend. So it's really a great book. And one of the things that she talks about, she says that there are two opposing emotions, which is desperation and also inspiration, can be also one of your motivators. You know, we know that desperation, or if we are saying someone is desperate, it means we are saying you are in a state of, you are panicking, you know, and also you are in a state whereby you are hopeless, you know, like you are not comfortable, you are not at ease when you are desperate. And also the opposite emotion to that, which she talks about on the book, is inspiration. We know that when you are inspired by something, it gives you that happy feeling, you know, it gives you that feeling of doing something, you know. So it's a very good space to be in when you are inspired. So she says that those two emotions can be your motivation, you know. So you are either motivated because you are desperate, or you are either motivated because you are inspired, you know. So on the side of desperation, she talks about a topic, or she talks about something that most of us, like, it's a very sensitive topic, and most of us, we are afraid, or rather we are avoiding speaking about that topic. And that topic is mortality. We know that mortality is to die, basically. Most of us, we don't want to talk about that, and because it's a very sensitive topic. I think even also myself, I hardly, or I rarely ever let my thoughts go into that thinking, or ever let myself, think about that or talk about that. So I believe that it is the situation for most of us, the topic of mortality. So she says that if we could visit thought of dying, like as oftenly as we could, if we could just briefly visit it, then we could do things differently, because we would understand and treat life with the agency and the passion that it needs, because we would understand that we do not have so much time. So you wouldn't want to waste your life, doing things that are not going to help you achieve your dreams. You wouldn't waste your time, doing things that are not going to assist you in attaining the things that you desire, you know. And I believe it's very true, because if you knew that you don't have as much time, in a sense that you will not live forever, then you would know, you know what, you would decide that, with the time that I have, let me do the right things, let me do things that will enhance my life, let me do things that will make a great impact on my life, and for example, if you want to buy a house, for example, get a certain skill or get a certain qualification, because you know that you do not have forever to live. So you'll make every effort, and you would work, towards attaining that qualification, maybe, or you'd work so hard towards getting that skill, or you will work so hard towards buying that house or building that house, so I think that topic, it's actually very true, if we could at least maybe briefly visit it, then we would do things differently in our lives. So it means that the thought of that mortality, it can also be one of the things that motivates you to do things differently. So it means whenever you feel overwhelmed or you feel down and you don't have enough motivation to do something, just always revisit very briefly, that state of mortality, then it is something, it's one of the things that will push you, to do the things that you are supposed to do. And while on that, I'll also just like to add uh, one of the very inspiring and powerful quotes that she mentions. That quote, it was, I think that statement, it was written by, or it was said by one of the American coaches, which is Anthony Robbins, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the American life coaches. So he says, to, remember the road to someday leads to a place called nowhere, and you don't want to go there. Like when I was reading the book and I came across, that quote, like it stuck with me. Like it really stuck with me. And I remember one day I was coming from work, and I think as I was coming from work, I had the previous day, which was Sunday, I had actually taken out clothes from the laundry basket. So I washed some of the clothes and some I left them, I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll see them the next coming weekend, So I remember on Monday, after having read the book and read that quote that says, remember the road to someday. If you keep saying, I'll do something some other day, it leads you to nowhere and you don't want to go there. So that code was ringing like very loudly in my mind. So when I got back from work, like I had the energy because this code was ringing in my mind. I took those clothes that I had left the previous day, I put them in the washing machine, and there were clothes that were on the sofa, and I took those clothes and folded them, because otherwise, if I had not come across, that code, I was gonna keep saying, no, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And days keep passing, and the next thing you know, the basket is full again, and you no longer maybe have, clothes that you can wear or something like that, So I believe honestly that if we could revisit, briefly that state of mortality, it could be one of the things that also motivates us, or it could be one of the the little pockets of motivation that we have in our lives in order to keep us focused and in order to keep us motivated in doing the things that we are supposed to do in order to get all the things that we desire or for us to achieve our dreams, you know. And also, I remember when also I was still in university, I bought a t-shirt that was written Sebenza Girl. So Sebenza Girl is translated as work. Like Sebenza means to work, work girl. So I bought that t-shirt that's written Sebenza Girl. And for me, when I bought that t-shirt, I bought it knowing that it would motivate me because I felt that every time when I would wear that t-shirt, it would actually push me to work because the t-shirt was written Sebenza Girl, you know. So I remember every time I didn't feel like attending a tutorial at school or I didn't feel like studying when I had a test on an exam, I would wear that t-shirt and instantly I would feel the energy, you know, to study. I would feel the energy to go to the lecture or to the tutorial, you know, and study for hours and hours because of that t-shirt. So what that taught me, it taught me that, you know, having an item or doing something that is your favorite thing to do, it's one of the things that actually can motivate you, you know, to put in the work, to put in the effort, you know, because that t-shirt was basically my favorite. And every time I had it on, I felt that I could, you know, go for hours and hours of studying because it was my favorite t-shirt, you know. So those are my little pockets, you know, of motivation. Some of the things that pushes me, you know, to do the things that I was supposed to do. And on that note of, you know, your favorite item or your favorite activity, thinking of it or having it around can be one of the things that motivate you. I also want to add, I remember some other day when I was at work, and for some reason I was just feeling so distracted, like I couldn't focus, you know. So I thought to myself, maybe if I can go to, I'm not usually a person that drinks hot drinks like your coffee and tea and all of those things. I'm not really a fan of, you know. But that day I felt like, hey, Shea, I think I'm struggling to focus. And maybe if I could go outside, maybe go and buy coffee, then when I come back, I would feel better, you know. I think the idea or the thing was not really about the coffee, but it was about going outside to a place that I don't normally go to because I'm not a coffee person. So it means I wouldn't usually visit a coffee shop. But then that day I felt like, if I can go to that coffee shop and come back, definitely by the time that I come back, my energy levels would have been revived, you know, and I will have the energy and the focus that I need to do my work. And that's what I did. I went to buy coffee and then drank the coffee, you know, and then started working. And it did a wonder on me. Remember, like when I started, I mentioned that tapping into the inordinary, sorry, can fuel your energy and for your passion in order for you to turn your life around. So the coffee situation is one of the inordinary things because the inordinary, you know, is defined as something that is not normal. So for me, going to the coffee shop is not a normal thing for me to do because I'm not really a coffee person, you know. But me going to that place, which is not so ordinary for me, it fueled my energy, you know. It filled me with passion, you know, in order for me to come back to my desk, works to my workstation and do the work, you know. So you know that I think that situation of the coffee itself is a good example of one of the things that you can adopt as your motivation, which is tapping into the inordinary. And on that note, I also make reference to one of the things that I also do, one of the things that I also like to do, which motivates me or kind of opens up my perspective or my imagination with regards to the inordinary things. I might be looking for a specific shop to go buy something, and we have it at our local mall. But instead of me going to our local mall, I'd rather go to a mall that is few or many kilometers away from home, not necessarily because what I'm looking for is not at the store at our local mall, but because I am looking for that different experience. I'm looking for that new experience. I'm looking for that experience that is not familiar. So me going to a mall that is miles and miles away, it fills me with, it motivates me, because I get to see, the things that people get up to. I get to see how people live their lives, different from me, and also take maybe the positives, that I observe while I am out, And one of the things that I also do is I like exploring, different restaurants outside of areas that in areas that I'm not familiar with, because that experience, it also serves for me as a motivation. It also serves for me as the inordinary experiences, that fills me with passion in order to turn my life around. So basically, those are the things that I really wanted to share with you guys here on this circle, about the things that motivates me, and how, also going further into explaining how they serve as motivation, for me or for another person, like I referenced from the book by Sharon Lowe. So you can also comment about what motivates you, what is it that keeps you on your toes, but not on your toes in a bad way, like you are panicking, but what keeps you having the energy you need, to put in the effort? What keeps you having the energy that you need, to continue working, to continue being the better person? What motivates you, to make better decisions, to enhance your life, to empower yourselves? What is it that motivates you? So that is the question that I'd like to leave you with, and you are welcome to leave a comment as to what is it that motivates you. Until next time, guys.